I never imagined that one simple dinner invitation would turn into a series of revelations that changed everything. My name is Naya, and my family and I had just moved to Los Angeles, hoping for a fresh start. My mom, always the optimist, had arranged to stay with Molly and her mother, hoping to get us settled in a new city. I never expected it would end like this. Fighting accusations, trust shattered, and relationships that would never be the same. It started innocently enough. Molly had introduced me to her mom, and I could tell from the get-go that things weren't going to be smooth. Molly's mom had this air about her, a sense of superiority mixed with kindness. But there was something else too, something unspoken. We sat down for a casual dinner, a gesture of kindness, I thought. But when Molly's mom questioned me about my job situation, I realized something was off. "Are you implying that I got the job offers because I'm black?" I asked, feeling the weight of her words. Her eyes flickered briefly, but she didn't back down. She tried to laugh it off, but the tension was palpable. "Have you ever heard the saying, 'Don't judge a book by its cover'?" I said, my voice cold. "Because that's exactly what you're doing right now." The night continued and things escalated from there. We all went to dinner, and I could feel the awkwardness between us, but I didn't know yet how bad it would get. Molly's mom didn't stop making little comments, some veiled in kindness, others cutting deeper. I tried to brush it off, but it seemed like she had already made up her mind about me. When she took us to see houses in the most expensive neighborhoods, I could barely hold my tongue. "This is too much for us," I said, finally snapping. "Why would you show us houses that are way out of our league?" She quickly apologized, but I didn't trust her. We were just a pit stop for her, a way to feel good about herself. I could feel her judgment, the way she measured me, my clothes, my appearance. Like that somehow determined my worth. And then the real bombshell hit. We came back to the house, and I noticed something strange. My wallet was missing. I didn't want to jump to conclusions, but I knew something was off. I confronted Molly's mom. "Where is my wallet?" I demanded. She stared at me, her eyes narrowing. "What do you mean?" "You took it," she accused. "This is exactly what you people do." The words hung in the air, suffocating me. I couldn't believe it. She accused me of stealing from her. The same woman who had invited me into her home, treated me like a charity case, now had the nerve to call me a thief. I tried to remain calm, but it was too much. I knew this wasn't just about the wallet. It was about everything she had judged me for, everything she thought about me without knowing a single thing. I tried to explain, but Molly's mom wasn't listening. "I'm done," she said. "You're not welcome here anymore." I turned to my mom, but she was already packing up, preparing to leave. She was done too. "We're going to a hotel. Anywhere is better than here." I looked at Molly, her face filled with embarrassment and disappointment, but I couldn't let it go. I needed her to understand that this wasn't about the wallet. This was about her mother's prejudice, her assumptions, and the harm they caused. The next day, everything came to a head. Molly's mom had invited the CEO to discuss her performance review. I thought it was just another attempt to save face, to pretend like everything was fine. But then something unexpected happened. The CEO was more than just a manager. She knew who I was. And when she learned I was the one who'd been unfairly judged, she stepped in. She looked Molly's mom in the eye. "I can't fire Nia," she said, surprising everyone. "She's proven herself in ways you haven't. You should be ashamed of how you treated her." It was a turning point. Molly's mom couldn't hide behind her wealth or her status anymore. The CEO saw through her, and so did I. "I'm sorry, Nia," Molly's mom said, her voice softer now. "I should have never judged you. I misunderstood, and I can see that now." I looked at her, and for a moment I considered walking away. But I knew forgiveness was what would set me free. "It's okay," I said, my voice steady, "but we need to start over. That's the only way forward." I could feel the weight of her words linger in the air as I stood there, silent for a moment. There was a part of me that wanted to shout, to call her out on every judgment she had made about me, my life, my background. But instead I simply nodded and turned to leave, feeling that all too familiar ache of injustice in my chest. I wasn't just leaving the house. I was walking away from a world that had tried to box me in, to diminish me because of their own narrow view of what success, worth, and humanity should look like. But as I stepped outside, my phone buzzed in my pocket. It was Molly. "Hey," she said, her voice shaky. "Can we talk? I owe you an apology. Mom doesn't get it. But I see you. I really do." I took a deep breath, looking at the message as if it held the weight of my next decision. I could let it go. I could walk away, go to the hotel, and leave this behind me. But something told me that this was the moment for change. Not just for me, but for Molly too. I hit call. When she answered, I didn't say anything at first. I just let the silence hang there between us. Finally, she spoke. "I've been listening to my mom's ideas about you and, well, I've been wrong. All this time, I've been seeing you through her eyes. But I can't do that anymore. I want to see you for who you really are. I'm sorry for not standing up sooner." I smiled, a wave of relief washing over me. It felt like I was taking a step towards something bigger than just this moment. I wasn't sure what the future held, but I knew that for the first time, I didn't feel like I had to fight to be seen. "I appreciate that, Molly. You don't know how much that means. But it's not just about us being friends. It's about understanding. And until you understand why it's not just about being a friend, why it's about being seen for who I truly am, then this conversation won't end." There was a pause. Then, "I get it now. I do. I'll make sure she gets it too." As I hung up, I felt like something inside me had shifted. It wasn't about winning the argument or proving someone wrong. It was about standing up for myself, for the person I was, and demanding respect in a way that didn't have to be loud or forceful, but quiet and firm, like a truth that couldn't be ignored. But what about Molly's mom? I wasn't ready to forgive her completely, not yet. She still had a lot to learn. But for now, I was content with my choice. The feeling of walking away wasn't one of defeat. It was a quiet triumph, the kind that comes when you realize your worth isn't defined by anyone else but yourself. The door to the house was still open, and I could hear the faint sounds of a conversation inside. But I didn't rush back in. The world outside was waiting for me to take my place in it, unapologetically. And as I drove away from the house from Molly's mom, I couldn't help but wonder how many people had been forced to step out of their own lives just to prove they were worthy. How many others had been shut out, dismissed, simply because of how they appeared. I knew the answer, but I also knew that I wasn't one of them anymore. And maybe, just maybe, I was beginning to show others the same. I apologize for the confusion. Here's the translation of the two parts you mentioned. Nia had always been on the back foot in her career, overshadowed by the prejudice and assumptions of others. But one day she found herself on the brink of a turning point. She had been working at her dream job for a while and had gained enough experience to finally feel confident about her place in the industry. Her hard work and sacrifices had paid off when she received a prestigious offer to head a new project, a position she knew she deserved. However, that confidence was soon challenged again by Molly's mother. Despite Nia's impressive success, the condescending attitude from Molly's mother continued to be a thorn in her side. She had never accepted Nia for who she was, constantly undermining her and making snide remarks about her background. Every time Nia achieved something remarkable, Molly's mother always found a way to belittle her accomplishments. But this time, Nia wasn't having it. She stood firm, knowing that she had worked too hard to let someone else's narrow mindset hold her back. It was no longer about proving herself to Molly's mother. It was about Nia believing in her own worth and moving forward, regardless of anyone else's approval. One evening, while Nia was sharing the exciting news of her promotion with Molly, she felt a strange shift in the air. Molly's mother walked in, overhearing their conversation. With her usual disdain, she quipped, "I still don't know how you got that position, Nia. It's surprising they would trust someone like you." Nia felt the weight of her words sink in, but instead of reacting angrily like she used to, she took a deep breath. "I earned it," Nia replied calmly. "Not because of where I came from, but because of what I've done and who I've become." Molly's mother scoffed and muttered something about luck before walking out. But for the first time, Nia didn't feel affected by it. She had come to understand something incredibly important. She didn't need her validation. She was more than capable of achieving everything on her own. With her newfound confidence, Nia began to rise even higher in her career. As her reputation grew, So did her influence in the industry. She was invited to prestigious events, became a mentor to others, and most importantly, her professional standing was stronger than ever before. But despite all of this, there was one person who still hadn't recognized her achievements: Molly's mother. One evening, Nia was at an event when Molly's mother approached her, once again with that same condescending attitude. But this time, Nia stood tall. She smiled and said, "I know I've proven myself, but I also know that I don't need anyone's approval to feel successful." The look on Molly's mother's face was priceless. For the first time, she realized that Nia wasn't the same person she had once dismissed. Nia had grown, not just in her career, but in her self-worth, and she no longer cared whether Molly's mother accepted her or not. No one has the right to define your worth but you. Success isn't about others' approval. It's about your own belief in yourself and your ability to rise above the challenges others throw at you. Have you ever faced judgment or belittlement from someone who didn't believe in your potential? How did you handle it, and what did you learn from the experience? Share your thoughts with us in the comments below.